and welcome to Pardon Our Honesty, where today we are deep diving into things we do not share or tell our closest and dearest friends ever.
Things we hide. So we're going to talk a little bit today, not any specific subject, just about things that we may hide or not share or discuss with others out of either fear or embarrassment or what will they think of me. So Tiffany's going to open it up. We were discussing episodes and, we were discussing the subject, and Tiffany is going to share a little bit of something about her. We're going to free talk a little bit about things that we know that we just don't openly share.
So what I shared, guys, is very scary to me, I think. I went through a period of severe depression a couple years ago. And my way of coping with that depression was I'm going to get super serious with God and I'm going to fast, like be for real, just fast, pray, because I need God to fix this situation. So I started fasting from like midnight to 5 o'clock in the afternoon every day.
In the evening?
Yeah, in the evening. Yeah, 5 o'clock in the evening. So basically I didn't eat all day. I only ate one meal a day. I wasn't eating meat. I would only eat fish. And so where I was, it wasn't a lot of options. But I carried that.
Well, where were you?
I was in Afghanistan.
She is a former military
yes, I'm
member.
a retiree. So I was in Afghanistan. The situation was very heart-wrenching. I just didn't even imagine I would ever find myself in that. And I didn't know how to deal with it besides, okay, I'm going to pray and ask God, like, please save me. So I would eat only once a day. I probably went over to Afghanistan as size 12. I worked out like 2.5 hours. And I think after about 2 months of doing it, I started to get the looks of, are you okay? I really didn't think about it. I just was like, okay, I'm doing this because I need God's help. And so for 6 months, that's all I did. When I finally came back to the U.S., my husband looked at me and was like, very surprised. And when I went to the store to try to find new clothes, I was no longer wearing a 12. I was wearing a size 4. From that, when I came home, I was working out like a crazy lady, still wasn't really eating. And I think I know even now, I don't eat. I would say I have an eating disorder, but I do eat. I just am very, very, very cautious about what I eat, how much I eat, how often I eat. So that's something I have not shared with anyone.
Okay, so 2 questions. First, why haven't you shared that? Question 1. Question 2 is why do you still not, like, is it weight related, mental related? Is it why? So first, why didn't you share it with anybody? And 2, why do you feel that you're still doing it?
I didn't share it with anyone because from my experience with learning about anorexia and bulimia when, we were teenagers, they kind of talked about that in health education class. It meant something's wrong with you. And I don't feel like there's something wrong with me, but I do feel like food can be a way for me to keep my weight under control, or a way to, I don't know, I guess maybe even punish myself. You ate those 5 Oreo cookies yesterday. You don't need to eat but one time today. I don't work out anymore like I used to, so I don't want to get overly heavy again. And if anybody saw me, they wouldn't even say, Tiffany, you're fat or you're heavy. I don't know. It just kind of stuck. And I don't really know how to get out of it.
Counseling.
I know. And there's such thing as body dysmorphia.
There is body dysmorphia because you hear that a lot with, I'll say women, You look at a woman and you say, you're so beautiful, you look great. And they look in the mirror and they think their face is too wrinkly. Or, I need to get Botox because I have wrinkles.
Or my chin
is fat. Or it's wrinkly compared to my face, so I need to get surgery. Or my boobs are too small. Or my stomach's too big. Or my hips are not proportionate. So there is that, image that, but I think everybody has something. And I'm always amazed, like, people don't share, like you just said. But I feel like I will bet 10% of people listening to this are going to be just like you.
Just they have that
they're not eating right. They have some kind of an eating disorder. Either they only eat once a day, or they only eat after a certain time, and they don't talk about it because they're afraid of judgment. I feel.
Yeah. I do have
afraid
a fear
of judgment, or afraid of people not validating what you're saying. Like if I say, just like any woman, you say, oh no, I have wrinkly. Like they're not going to accept it, and they're thinking you're not believing them because they see these imperfections.
So we can't take positive comments. We always, for me, I know I hear the positive, but in the back of my mind, the judge is saying, she's just saying that to be nice, or darn well that's not really you. That's not real, remember you got this, and this going on. So,
and I think it's always amazing to me because when you share certain things, like, two of our boys are ADHD, one is ADHD combined. My perception is I'm going to tell everybody and I'm going to ask everybody because I want your input and I want your knowledge and I don't have a freaking clue what's going on. Nick's input is I don't want them labeled. I don't want them labeled. We don't need to talk about it. Their teacher doesn't need to know. Their person, nobody needs to know. And I'm like, it's interesting to me. I feel the more I share at times, even I don't share everything, okay, but the more I share at times on certain things, I'm amazed at the wealth of knowledge people have or experiences that I feel not alone, number one. I feel like, okay, this chaos is normal because of this. Like in that instance, like I thought there's something really wrong with these boys. And there's people like, this is normal. This is the symptoms. You need this, you need this medication, you need this doctor, you need this. And people share, like they want to help you because they struggled.
Yeah.
And I feel like as society in general, not just women, I'll say women, but I think men, women, they don't go to somebody and say, I have erectile dysfunction, or
no,
I have really bad breath. No. What do I do to fix it? Or I have this weird lump in my boob, or like we don't.
So I think it's fear of judgment. Nobody wants to be judged. I mean, whether that's a good critique or a bad critique. Well, like you're saying, if you shared what was going on with your boys, then you would have got a community that would have rallied around you and said, hey, do this, 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 this. It will make your life so much easier because they went through when nobody was talking about it. You're just supposed to beat the hell out of the kid and make them do right in mind, to understanding, oh, these things can work. This can. And then with me, I think I just don't feel like other people deal with eating disorders like that we used to have. And I don't know, I'm not saying, the lack of eating or too much eating, they both can be perceived as eating disorders, but I don't know anybody that has, like, I don't want to eat.
But because you don't, because you've never asked it. I bet. So I'm just going to say, when I did that Facebook post, it said, does anybody have any kids with ADHD or ADHD combined? I put it out there. I had 27 personal messages from people. Nobody commented on the post. 27 messages to me, articles to read, advice on medication, doctors. This is normal. This is not normal. Try this, try that. One lady said, have them leave their shoes on when they're doing chores. It will help them feel like they have to get done. I mean, I was getting all kinds. I was like, these people are freaking brilliant. I bet you they never shared it with anybody and they built their own knowledge and now they're sharing it with me because I put it out there. But I guarantee you, if you put it out in the world, like, hey, does anybody consider themselves having an eating disorder because they eat too much or don't eat enough? I bet you'd be overwhelmed by people.
I think that out there.
I think as most people think an eating disorder is only anorexia or bulimia. Like that's what you think when you think that. Just like addiction, people automatically think drugs. Yeah. But there's a million other addictions that you can have. Yeah. And so I think like I wish people would share what they don't want to share. Because I think that any time in my life I have like infidelity or death in my family or medical things
Yeah.
or childbirth,
The
like all
change.
these things. Yeah. Like what is happening to me since I turned 40? Like I will confide in people and they will say, oh girl, that's normal. This, and then I'm like, why didn't I ask this freaking sooner? Like, man, just having a conversation with somebody, even dreams and hopes outside of that. Like, hey, I'd really like to be a writer. Well, cool. You do? Well, hey, my friend here's a publicist. But if you never said it because you're embarrassed or you're like, do you hide things because just like goals? Do people hide it because they're afraid people are going to like, you're never going to do that?
Yeah, because hiding it keeps the perception of what you think other people think of you. So if I never talk about all the bullshit that I'm going through, like body image, self-esteem, confidence, if I don't say anything about that and I just keep going and let people perceive me as how they perceive me, oh, Tiffany is very confident, she has it going on, then I never have to face that person that I'm hiding, I guess is what I would say. Because this part of Tiffany is very hidden. I've never talked about it. I think when I realized, oh crap, I am doing that, it was just so ingrained in me that I couldn't stop. I couldn't stop. Even now, it's like maybe hit or miss. I might eat breakfast. Most of the time I don't. I just drink some coffee. I might eat lunch. If I do eat lunch, I'm probably not gonna eat dinner. So it's just how do I get past, okay, yes, I know I have an eating issue. What am I gonna do about it?
Right.
Because
and see, the
it's
thing
not
is,
as
though,
easy.
is if you shared it with people,
then they're going to be looking at me saying, Tiffany, when are you going to eat? Yes. Did you eat something today? Right. No, that's not going to be helpful to me. It's going to piss me off, and I'm going to get ugly with that person because, yes, while I recognize that I have this problem, I don't need you jumping on the bandwagon and judging me. And so that's why people don't share, because of that judge. If you want to be supportive, say, I understand, something like that, and just move on. But I don't.
But I think you get the flip. I think with everything, you get both sides. You get the shitty side of people, their judgment, or they're like, well, that's stupid or whatever. There's a stupid side. And people do and say stupid shit. Maybe not intentionally, because I'm one of those people who ask way too many questions. And I'm learning. I'm trying to learn.
No, I mean,
but if you say something, I'm the one who's going to, well, did you do this? Did you do that? I just got to learn to shut up sometimes. But you get the positive side though, too, because I feel like if you shared it, you would get, I guarantee you would get some women that say, listen, Tiffany, I do the same thing, but here's what I do. I take these vitamins, or I take these shakes, or, hey, why don't you just try with something small? Like you're going to get somebody not telling you what to do because they're pointing, but because they're living in it, or have lived in it and can say, sister, can help you. And I think that's the part we're afraid of. We're more afraid of the judgment and the shit that we're going to get instead of focusing on the reward and positive change we could get by sharing. And I think it takes a close tribe that you should, I don't know if everything has to be public.
Yeah, and I don't think,
but I think you should have a tribe or somebody. But I feel like, gosh, where was I the other day? I wish I could remember. I have such a horrible memory. I was somewhere talking and I can't remember what it was. And a really good rabbit hole we went down. Positive things came out of it. And I was like, this is all from us just sharing real life stuff. And gosh, I can't remember what it was. But I felt every day I think that. Like, if we shared, like, I don't need to know, like, your bathroom routine. And, like, I don't think we have to share all that.
Why don't you want to know my bathroom routine?
But I will say, if you said something like, hey, I only go to the bathroom, number 2, once a week, right?
Then something's wrong with you.
Right. But if I never tell anybody that, and I think that's normal, right? Because, that's normal. But if I never say, Tiffany, like, is this normal? And you're like, girl, no, you need to eat this or drink this or drink, this should be, you know, I could be harming myself all because of the fear that I'm afraid to go. Now, what I've learned in my life, and it might be different for people, is my senior people and anybody older than me. My friend Connie is 45, I think. She's 3-4 years ahead of me. So she's prepped me for a lot of stuff. So when it happens, I'm like, oh, this is normal. My body's normal. This is normal because she told, and I could go to you.
Yes.
And I've learned people who have different life experiences or who are just even 2 years older than me have a knowledge that we should not be afraid to go to. But I think obviously it has to be somebody you're comfortable with.
Yeah, and I think that's the main thing is, like you're saying, your friend Connie. You could ask her questions about the change of life, and she's going to be open and willing to share those things with you freely because you and her have a relationship. Mm-hmm. Like I'm felt free to share the eating concerns that I have because you and I have that relationship. Mm-hmm. But even if someone was to hear this and then come up to me and be like, "Oh, Tiffany, you have an eating disorder. Something's wrong with you," and they are not in my circle, it's going to not turn out so good.
Right.
So I think that's also a part of me, like I said, having those self-esteem issues, confidence issues of I don't necessarily receive criticism well unless it comes from a person that I know loves me. I'm never going to receive criticism from anybody else unless they come from a place of love. I'm going to become defensive, which is wrong. I know.
We all kind of do
but
that.
I'm going to be pissed off that you even said anything to me because you don't know me. You don't know my story. You don't know my life. So don't judge me because I'm not judging you. Right. I'm sharing this so that, you know.
But what I even learned from one of our last podcasts, I think our first episode.
We're so excited
about confidence. I got messages of like, you know, thank you so much for sharing. You know, I battle things that nobody knows about. Yeah. And I felt like I could relate to that. I had people tell me, don't worry, you're beautiful. That's not what I was seeking. You know, I was sharing my insecurities of my weight or whatever, but more people related to the fact that like we all struggle with something. Mm-hmm. And we look at people and think, oh, she got it. She got it. But somebody has something that they're just afraid to share it. Yeah. And I think, and maybe they do, they might share it with a tribe, right? Yeah. They might share it with one person, but I think the most selfish thing you can do is keep your life experiences to yourself. I think it's very selfish. For me to not talk about mistakes I've made in relationships or relationship mistakes that have been made towards me, or me not to talk about my kids' ADHD, or me not to talk about death, or me not to talk about any work, goals. You know, I'm being selfish in my life experiences because I feel like if I would openly share with people, especially in my circle, maybe not in the front of a classroom, but in my circle, even if they don't want to share with me, I'm probably helping them with something that they didn't even know they were too afraid to ask or say anything. But by me sharing, like I'm just going to use my friend Connie, for example. She shares things with me, right?
And I want to meet Connie.
And I love her for that. Because I may not have thought that I was comfortable enough for something to say, hey, this is happening, or this happened to me. And she shares, I'm like, okay, this is normal, or this is, you know, especially the older you get, your body change, all kinds of stuff happen. But, you know, people would tell you that. But if nobody ever shares, I think it's selfish. Like I try to openly share things that I don't go through my life in detail, but people know my dad died and how I dealt with that and how, you know, before I felt very selfish that when people would have somebody pass, I'd be like, I'm so sorry. I didn't understand the gravity to it.
Gravity
Somebody's close to you. And so I share that. Or the blended families. The first few years we were together, I would act like we're just, you know, but when I say blended families are fucking hard, people are like, oh my God, one of Connie's husband actually was like, we need to do a podcast and get guests for everybody who's a blended family because, oh my gosh, it's hard, You know, but if I didn't openly say that to people that I know are, I'll tell people as soon as they're married, blended family, I'm like, you know, blended families can be tough. If you ever need any help, but just stay with it, be strong, blah, blah, blah. And, you know, like, I feel like you're being selfish in a way.
I don't know if I subscribe to that because I think, yes, we have experiences that can help somebody, right? But I think God will place people in your path that you need to share that experience with. Because I know there are a lot of things about my past life that I wouldn't just openly blab out just because I don't know if it would be a benefit to somebody else. So I went to lunch last week with a young lady who is going through some difficult trials in her life. And because of my experience, I was able to share with her, encourage her, tell her to give herself grace, love herself, forgive herself. And, you know, life is going to go on. But it's because, like you said, I had those experiences, but we were at lunch. It was just her and I. I don't think I would have if she was in an open setting that I probably would have said anything because it would have been something just for her.
Right. In a way. I don't know. So I don't know like how to explain it. So sometimes I forget we're on video and I'm like messing with everything. And then I'm like, oh yeah, I'll record this too. But okay, I'm going to use a totally different. Okay. So like at work, there's a super easy way to say, create a QR code. Okay. Super easy. But that person doesn't want to look like they don't know what they're doing. And that person, so they're going to go to some website and spend 30 minutes and learning how blah, 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 blah. Where it literally takes 2 clicks, right? So they're never going to ask because they don't want to look stupid or they don't want to feel like they don't know or they don't want to feel like they're the only one who doesn't know. So by me going every week and posting, hey, this is the quick way to make a QR code or this is a quick way to blah, 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 they could go, crap, that was easy. I could have done it that way. Now in life, I'm not going to go post every day like, oh, my life's this or whatever.
Yeah.
But I'm putting out things in a way that maybe, especially in my circle, I guess is what I'm saying. So I see somebody's friend who passed away, had a family member pass away. I know they might not come to me and ask me, but I'm definitely going to just bring it up and share it and offer, hey, I've been through it if you want to, because they still might be afraid to come to you. So I feel like, I think the judgment's the biggest one.
Yeah.
I used to be very fearful to talk about a lot of things because of judgment. Well, people look at me a certain way. People are going to judge me. People are going to put me in this box. People are going to, whatever they're going to do. Instead of saying, what can I gain from this? And if you're a person who's going to bring shit to me, then you're just not meant to be in my life. Like if you.
But so sharing my experience, telling people, okay, hey, I see you going through this. How am I going to be comfortable enough to open that floodgate or open that door wide to let them in without feeling like they might be just gaining this information to use it against me later? So that's my issue. Like I feel
like, what can you do to me that I've not already dealt with in my life? Like if I had infidelity or infidelity done to me, if I have kids who are sick or not, if I've had health, whatever, if I'm sharing it with you, I've done my dealings. I've dealt my dealings with myself, with God, with the people in my life. I've done my dealings, right? So what are you going to do? Go tell everybody my business? Okay, well, I guess, okay.
No, because if you tell my business, then we're going to have some other kind of different problems. When I'm trying to be helpful and I'm sharing this for your benefit, but then you turn around and use it against me.
Well, I think it will come down to then who is it? Is it some random person you walked to the grocery store and then you told her? Or is it somebody like me who you see me over here upset about something and I haven't come to you, but and you're just going to pour into me? I think that's different. I'm not going to go and be like, Tiffany told me. So I think you might have to monitor that a little bit. But I feel like going back to what you said, God brings people in
and
for a season, a reason, and a whatever.
I believe that.
And sometimes, some things we have to share are embarrassing, or maybe even you feel disappointed in yourself, or you have to admit failures, and you have to admit, a lot of shit you don't want to admit. But if it's going to help, like during our confidence podcast, somebody texted and said, there's a lot of things I've gone through that nobody knows about me.
Yeah.
And you really helped me. And I felt really sad that person is a good friend of mine, is like, she is carrying that burden by herself. She is alone in whatever struggle she has. But she has not felt confident or comfortable enough to come to somebody and say, this happened to me, or I'm struggling with this. Please walk through this with me. She's doing it by herself. And some podcasts we just randomly spoke to her, but she still doesn't.
But that's what I'm saying. Like, because she heard that podcast of us being open and honest and real and telling the whole truth, nothing but the damn truth. Now she can reach out to you and you can come alongside her and help her through that. But she didn't have to go tell the world and then the world judge her. And then now she's still back where she started. She was able to confide in somebody like you who's going to pour into her.
But I think she got validated to feel like she was normal, whatever maybe she's going through.
Yeah.
But if we didn't do that podcast, and she didn't happen to hear it, she is sitting alone in her whatever.
Destiny is all divine. You can't change fate. I believe that. I believe that.
Yeah.
Where are we going?
But
y'all?
I'm just saying, like, my encouragement is to share. Like, and if you have friends in your circle that you feel you can't share with, maybe you need different friends.
Yes.
Because I my friend circle, I could pretty much, I think, share. I don't share every single detail of my life, but I could share if something freaking popped up and I was like, I'm struggling with this, or what is this thing on my face, or whatever. I feel comfortable enough that I could do that. And maybe different people for different things. You know, I have but different people for different things.
Yes.
I could go to them with just about, Connie, I go to just about everything. She's listening to this. She's probably like, I get video freaking Snapchats from her every day with her shit. So, but I feel like, because I guess it heals me as much as it helps you to help me.
Yeah.
Like, you know, like, but us, I feel like as women especially, we keep this facade that is so, make sure our pictures look perfect on Facebook. Make sure our family looks happy on Facebook. Make sure that when we walk into a room, we're all matching and we're smiling. And like, we have this, oh, we're great. I'm great. I feel great. I'm the best living. Like, let me put my 19 filters on before I take a picture. Like, I had to come to terms a long time ago. Like, I used to not let people put any pictures of me on Facebook. I used to not, like, when I saw how much weight I gained. And I just had to share that insecurity with people. And people were like, Megan, listen, they're going to see you in real life.
Yes, they are.
And they either love you or they hate you. And if it's based on your weight, they're not the people for you. And then after that, I got over it. But had I not shared that, who knows how worse it could have got? Or, you know, me and my partner have all kinds of issues. And do I have a hole in my shirt? No, it's the light. Sorry.
Oh, Jesus.
This is
what
ADD.
is Megan doing, y'all? What is she doing?
But, you know, like, I share things about my relationship with people because I need help and guidance. I don't want you to tell me what to do, but I need to know that I have an outlet, because otherwise I could drown.
Well, yeah, but I think you have to be very careful, like we said, of who you're sharing those details with. Now, if it's someone that's going to pour into you, absolutely, you should share. Especially if it's your circle of close-knit friends and family. They are the ones that's going to come alongside you and help you make it through whatever.
I'll take that. My family's probably not who. No. We're
going to talk about that another
I love
time.
my family. But I don't know, because, you know,
time.
family, I feel like, takes an approach of like, oh, you mad? I'm mad. Like, we don't like them. I don't like them. They just got your back. Where I feel like
girlfriends do that too now.
Well, but
if you don't like somebody, I'm not going to like their ass.
Yeah,
either.
but they also say, okay, like, I feel like my friends, I think, know me on a deeper level. So they're like, okay, yeah, we won't like him, but did you do this? And did you try? Like, they kind of level you out a little bit. But I think everybody hides something. And it's out of fear of rejection. It's fear of judgment. It's fear that somebody's going to look at me and go, well, what in the world? But really, time over time, when somebody has shared something, it's like a light bulb goes off and people connect. Yeah. People are healed. People feel not alone. People feel like, you know.
But I still think you have to be selective in who you share your deep, dark secrets.
I do agree, because there are ugly people in the world that will store that shit and hope you run for president one day so they could be like, oh, she did
well, you know, I'm never going to even try it, because ain't no telling what kind of videos are out there.
But I think that's the other thing. People are afraid. People hold you to who you were before. Yes. And I think every day you are a new person. Yes. Every day. Absolutely. Every day I can wake up and my Megan yesterday will be different from Megan today if I'm constantly improving. So if I did some dumb shit 10 years ago and made super bad choices, and I share those with you, I don't think I should be placed in judgment for those, because I've grown or I've changed or I learned or whatever.
But that's where the judge comes in again.
So what Tiffany's talking about is the book, The Four Agreements by Mr. Don Ruiz.
It's a Toltec religious book, but it's really great. It just opened my eyes to understanding how I became who I was based on what was taught to me, right and wrong, what's right, what's perfect, what's good, what's bad as a child. And I never got a chance to kind of develop who I wanted to be on my own. And then what are the ways to kind of come out of that into a new, whole being, and it's beautiful. I love it. But check it out, guys. The 4 agreements.
Yeah. So I think that it is a factor. People hold you to who you know, oh, well, when I knew her in high school, she did this, and that's 20 freaking years ago. I hope I'm different than, you know what I'm saying? So I think people do have a fear of sharing because people see their image now.
Yeah.
Oh, you're this perfect, you're the model church wife, or you're the model mom with 17 kids and they all match and you do crafts on every holiday and you're like mom of the year. You feel like I shouldn't, I see this young girl struggling. Should I tell her I did drugs? Should I tell her I did this? And you're too worried about your image. Well, shit, that was 20 years ago. Like, even if it was a week ago, you're growing. And if people can't see that.
Because you're not supposed to have a past. You are right now who you are. That's what people see. That's what they judge you. And so you weren't supposed to have a past because this is what I see. And so if I know you had a past, it's going to change how I see you. Why?
Yeah.
Everybody has a damn past. It wasn't perfect. It wasn't peaches and roses and cream. It has some shit in there and some things we wish we had never done. But like you're saying, can that experience help somebody? Yes. Should you share? I agree you should share, but share with those who it will help, not with people who are just looking for something else to gossip about you. But if they do, forgive them. Don't beat them up like I would. Forgive them and move on, because the reason you shared that was because you had that experience, and because you had it, there's definitely got to be at least 2 or 3 other people else who's having that experience, and it will help them make it to the other side.
Yes, exactly.
It will. I promise you it will.
So those of you who are listening, and I think it's resonated in you listening to us talk, you're thinking, oh my God, I would never share this with somebody. Or I could never ask somebody if this is normal, or I could never. If you truly have something and you think that, there is somebody that's already been placed in your life to help you. Yeah. And you have to get over yourself to ask that person for help, or ask that person for their wisdom or clarity, or ask, come to us if you need somebody. Yes. But to suffer alone and think that there's somebody that doesn't, I guarantee there is somebody who's been through the same shit as you. You think you've done the worst. You think you've made the worst choices. You think nobody would ever do that. You think people are going to judge you for that. But the right people are not. They're going to say, honey, I've been there. Yeah. Okay, this is what you need to do. Yeah. Try this, do this, I'm divorced, and I hear people, they'll come to me and say, I really feel like I just came. I don't say, yeah, go for divorce. No. I say, well, tell me what's happening. And let me tell you what I would have done better. Mm-hmm. This is what I would have done to fix my marriage. And I give honest feedback and tell them, this could have fixed, you try this for, like, there are people in your circle that have experienced what you are sitting here thinking about right now, listening to this, that you haven't shared with somebody, and you are more afraid of yourself because they will help you. The right person will help you and give you words. And I feel like we're so worried about that fear and judgment, which I agree. I mean, it lives in all of us every day. They're going to judge us for our outfit, our hair, how we present ourselves. I mean, all that shit. But if you're struggling, it's worth it to me to put yourself out there and get the help that you need versus I'm just not going to say anything because I don't want people to. Nobody's perfect. No. And if there's anybody listening and thinks they're perfect, then you're hiding the most shit, because nobody's perfect.
Megan said it and I seconded. Yes, you are hiding, because nobody is perfect.
Nobody is perfect. Everybody's got their stuff. We can make a list of it.
Yes.
I mean,
honestly, we do have a list. We do have a list that we're going to definitely talk about.
That's how this podcast was created. Yeah. We wanted to create something that we could talk about things that people don't openly talk about. I mean, there's all kinds of stuff on this list, and it's all the things that people hide that they won't talk in the open. And
I can't believe I talked in the open, but
I guarantee somebody will reach out to you.
I'm sure they will too.
And if somebody's going to give you words, I don't know how to help you, because I don't struggle with that.
Megan, there's nothing wrong
but
with
I'm just saying, like, somebody is going to have that and go, I've been there, I've done that, or I'm in that. this is what I'm doing to get better. This is what and that's, if you never would have shared it, you're missing that opportunity. And it's, who's it hurting? It's hurting you. So, and then once you get through it, that's something you need to share
with other people,
because somebody silently is struggling with it and they're not talking to somebody. And by you sharing, then you're helping somebody else. So
I promise I will come back and share with you my little changes every day to conquer this issue.
Oh, let's talk about that real quick.
Okay, what were we talking about?
The little changes, the little steps.
Okay.
What was the thing? The quote? Hold on.
If there was one thing you could start or stop today to change your life, what would it be?
Man, I think you got it perfect. If there was one thing that we could start or stop doing right now that would immediately make us better, what would that one thing be? Yeah. We went to church together today. He was on it.
Yes, he was.
So the thing is little steps.
Little steps.
You want to do all these big things and you don't get there because they're so giant. Mm-hmm. You feel like you failed, but little steps. Yeah. So if you don't want to share your whole life, or you don't want to share that big thing, maybe take a little step and kind of go through the doorway a little bit and say, my friend has asked me, or, hey, do you have any input on, and dumb it down a little bit or something. But little steps to make us better. And I think sharing with each other and talking and being open and being honest in your feedback. Like, my friends will come to me for stuff and I feel safe enough to be, I don't tell them what they want to hear.
No, she does not.
I want to be honest and say, but I want them to be able to receive my honesty. Yeah. Not think I'm being nasty. And I think that's part of it. When you have to be willing to receive honesty, and you have to be willing to give it. Honesty, and a lot of people don't like to give honesty because they're afraid they're going to hurt people's feelings, or they're going to be judged for their honesty. And then the person receiving it, sometimes I don't want to hear that shit.
Well, I think it's going to depend on who that other person on the other side is as well.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah.
Because if I
don't like you, I don't want to hear shit from you.
I don't want you. It's not going to work, boo.
I have a hard time hearing anything anyway, so you better be somebody.
So that means we might need to work on our inner voice and be able to work through how we accept criticism or feedback that's like really honest, but it's not anything we want to damn hear.
Yeah, listen, we walked into the office after our first podcast, and everybody had feedback about the damn yellow wall. We're like, we know, and the voice, the echoing, like, oh my gosh. But they were our friends.
Yes.
And they were giving honest feedback.
Yes.
Which we appreciated and we took to heart, but it was really flippin' annoying.
Yes, because like a lot of people said the same thing.
Oh my God, we're like, we got it. But they all were coming from a place of love and trying to help us be better, do better. And I think if you have the right circle, that's what somebody is doing. Even if they're being honest and they're not telling you exactly what you want to hear, you need to hear it and be able to receive it. But if you don't ask or seek those things, you're really missing out. And I think by us just not openly sharing certain things, we're being selfish and we're leaving somebody else being helped because we're too afraid to do that.
I agree with that. With that. All right, guys. So we would love to see your comments down below on this podcast. If there's something you'd like to share with us that you have not shared with anyone else, you don't have to leave it down below. You can always email us at pardonourohonesty@gmail.com. We'd love to interact with you and give you some of our advice on some of the things that you might be dealing with that we could help you with. So please like, share, and subscribe. And until next time, bye. Guys.